we know that you're a GTR guy.
Yeah.
And when you pulled up here, you said, I might need to get one of those Mustangs. You said that to me. He said that.
Nah, I didn't actually say that. Welcome to the Full Throttle Podcast, where we talk cars, chaos, and life decisions made at 100 miles an hour. I'm your host, Mickey Andrade, professional wrench spinner, serial Skyline car project addict, and a guy who's somehow made a career out of bad decisions. Today we've got a special guest for you. But before we get into it, I want to thank Race Service for hosting us today and allowing us to film this podcast off-site. I know this is a little bit different atmosphere than you guys are used to, but Race Service are great friends of ours. They are up in the LA area and allowing us to use their space today so that our guest and I could meet. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up and grab your helmets, because today's guest doesn't just drive cars and trucks. He defines car culture as you know it. From lowriders to melting tires in the back streets of Maryland to shredding global podiums, this guy's helped turn drifting into an art form, literally, and built an empire out of just having fun. He's the man behind the wheel, behind the brand, and behind some of the wildest Mustangs ever, the one and only Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Wow, thank you, Mickey.
I'm not even done yet, dude.
Okay,
This gets better.
Okay.
He partnered with Ford Racing to mastermind and bring his RTR dream to life, turning everyday Mustangs into sideways screaming monsters. Whether it's the Formula Drift grid, the chaos of King of the Hammers, or ripping EVs into the future, Vaughn's always out here pushing boundaries, burning rubber, and rewriting what ready to rock really means. So crank up the volume, try to smell some of that tire smoke, and get ready for stories from a man who lives life at Redline all the time. This is Vaughn Gittin Jr., built for the wild, fueled for passion, and of course, ready to rock. Let's go, baby.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate that, Mickey. And it's very well worth starting this off with everybody knowing that we have a 20-year relationship. You used to be my boss.
Oh, yeah.
So don't forget about it.
It's been a while.
It's important, I think, important for everybody to know that. We've been through some amazing stuff, and I'm really excited to be here and experience this ride with you here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've been doing quite a few podcasts. We've done probably, I think this is like the 13th one now or something. And almost every guest I've had a pretty long tenure with. You're definitely the longest, I think, up to this point. You were Jared. And a couple of people like recently I never met. And that's leads to a whole different type of podcast. Because I'm really learning as we go. But with this, I kind of know the lay of the land already. And I know we're going to have some fun here.
Oh, yeah.
So what's it like being the new Carroll Shelby?
I've gotten that a lot recently. First of all, that's a very flattering thing. My response to that is like, I'm the first me. I'm not the new Carroll Shelby.
Of course.
But like what that means, I know what that means.
Yeah.
And it is just an absolute honor. And, I got to spend some time with Carroll before he passed away. And we crossed paths a lot with my early tenure with Ford.
I remember that actually when we were doing some Barrett Jacksons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
drift demos and things. He was always there.
Yep. But
because of you, I met Carroll Shelby.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's all I've ever done is just live my passion.
Yeah.
And whether that's behind the wheel or that is creating. Whether it's production vehicle with Ford, which we'll get in, or, our spec vehicles or the Hunicorn or the RTRX, for me, it's like there's a level of inspiration that comes and then passion. And then every project and part of it is just like a living of that.
Right.
And so I wish I could say like I had this big plan and I like, all of these things I'm achieving have been like parts of the dream. But I really never had any idea how I was going there.
Right.
And so like now that I'm...
Or how to get there probably.
Yeah. But the thing that like I'm now experienced enough to share is that it's really just chasing the passion.
Yeah.
Because I believe that like when you're in your passion and in your zone and in your vibe, like living your purpose, the rest, it just comes. Like it's not happens, that there's hard work involved in this and that, but like it just flows. And that's just where I try to stay. And, learning that quite a few years ago has enabled me to like continue to be confident in what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear to me that I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit. I think you did have a clear line of sight on what you wanted to accomplish, and that's why you're here today, because you did focus on that. You busted your ass, and you got here. But I can tell you, and the reason I said, how does it feel to be the new Carroll Shelby, is because I remember the day that we sat at PRI behind closed doors with Ford, and they basically pitched that idea to you and at the time one of your partners. But I don't think in those words, but I knew back in 04 this was eventually going to happen for you. As long as you stayed on your path and you were passionate about what you were working on, which you always were, that you would end up here. You would be the next Carroll Shelby. You would be the first Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Yeah. Interesting.
I got goosebumps driving up here just thinking about that, because I had the recollection, and I have a terrible memory. But for some reason, I remember that day like it was yesterday. Do you recall that?
I do remember being at PRI in the little booth with Ford, and it was Mickey Mattis, Jamie Allison. It was like 06.
Was it 06? Okay.
I think it was 06, because we had already had the Mustang. We debuted the Mustang in 05.
Bought that car in October 04.
Took it to SEMA in November.
First 5-liter 05 Mustang in California. It was an automatic.
Paid $5,000 over sticker for it.
Paid $5,000 over sticker. Sent it straight to a shop where they put a roll cage in it. Then we painted the windows black for some reason.
Because we didn't have a full interior in it.
Right. And the Falcon livery went on the car, and it got shipped to Japan.
And we dumped it. No, it went to SEMA. Then it went to
SEMA in October. Then January is always Auto Salon.
It went to that Auto Salon.
I always remember riding down the escalator at Makuhari Mess, where the show is in Japan, and one of the umbrella girls looking at me asking when the truck driver was arriving in Japan with the car.
Wow.
Did I ever tell you that story?
No. Wow.
Yeah. I'm not going to mention any names, but she thought that the Mustang was being transported via truck to Japan. Yeah.
I probably would have said something like that back in the day.
Anyway, that is an epic story in and of itself. So that was literally the first 05 Mustang that came into California, was turned into the Falcon drift car that we now know.
Yeah.
And that car was never written off, right?
No. Falcon actually gave it to me. They gave it to me. They knew it was such a huge part of my history. They made me sign something. I couldn't sell it for like 10 or 15 years.
Really? That's cool.
I just recently... Dude, my nostalgia has been really real right now. I
could tell by watching your YouTube
S13,
channel.
the car that you met me in, rebuilding that. But then I'm like, we got to get the Falcon car built and back running. So literally just before I flew out here, like 3-4 days ago, I drove it for the first time again.
Wait, so that car went through many iterations. It was like a supercharged 4.6 in the beginning, or 5.4?
Yeah, no, it was the supercharged 4.6 Sean Highland motor.
Yes, that's right.
That we couldn't keep together.
Yep.
And then you guys got frustrated, and you're like, we're just having Hasselgren build us a motor.
So we called up Paul Hasselgren, who's engine builder extraordinaire from, I don't know, Formula Atlantic days or something. I can't remember. He used
4AGE.
he used to do the big 4AGE Corolla motors that for the open wheel cars.
Yeah.
And that thing, I mean, I was green to V8s at that point.
We were green to everything.
And pretty much everything.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Exactly. That was the nastiest sounding motor in the Formula Drift field.
And it still is.
Really?
Oh, the cars that we drive now are obviously way better in every sense, but this thing still sounds amazing. But
wait, how long was it dormant?
15 years. There have been a couple, like in my old house when I still lived in Maryland.
Yeah.
A couple like 3-4 o'clock in the morning nights.
No way.
Where we tried to start it. We tried to. But it wouldn't. And once Ray got into looking at it, like there was just all the lines were rotted and it just sat, it was sitting in a race car. But it fired right up, and I went out and drove it. And the first thing I said when I got out of it is like, I have zero interest to throw this thing up on the bank at Irwindale because it's just so heavy. It's so not responsive. It's just a different era. And I'm excited to compare it.
It's 2006 D1 level spec, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
so the sport has come that far. I have a great question that's going to put these side by side later.
Sure.
But so you would be scared today to put it up on the wall?
I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
At Irwindale.
You
like
could
after
do it.
driving, I could do it. But like after now knowing what a drift car can be,
Yeah.
like I'm a driver that will drive anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's made me good behind the wheel
You
because
can
I
adapt,
just adapt.
basically, yeah.
But like after driving that car and how like slow to respond and heavy it feels
Yeah.
compared to like what we're doing now. And the
Did we
steering,
have any angle on that
dude,
car?
we had half-inch moved on the tie rod on the knuckle, and then we had the spacers at the steering rack.
Oh my
I mean, the
God.
thing's got like
So
barely
none.
the same angle. Yeah. Yeah.
So probably a modern Mustang probably has more angle or lock than...
No. Close. Close.
Not surprised, man. Those were the heydays, man.
Dude, it was unreal to like live that because that's where it started and that's where the inspiration for RTR started. Because like when we got that car, trying to like make it look our vibe, you know, like when I say our, I mean our generation.
You're taking it basically at that time was a new gen Mustang, very cutting edge style. It was like the retro look was back.
Modern retro, yeah.
Modern retro, and then trying to add a JDM flair to it.
Well, just the vibe that we liked, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's some JDM and some European influence. Like that's kind of where my stuff comes from. But when we started looking to buy stuff for this car, it was just like the same stuff my dad or granddad would put on his car.
Yeah.
We ended up with the 3D Carbon Boy Racer kit, which was like the only thing even in the stratosphere that I would put on the car.
And and that was something that you and I discussed. I mean, hell, because at the time I was the project car manager for that car. And I remember looking for an aero kit for it and like nothing exists. First of all, this is a brand new chassis from Ford. So whatever was out was something that someone was working with Ford and developed for SEMA, essentially.
Yeah.
I didn't like the bar and remember the openings below the headlights, it had the bar. I think we had them take those out. So you had like a more JDM style body kit looking opening.
Yeah.
And I think because they custom made that for us, when you smashed the first one, we got another one and it came with the bar.
Yeah.
And I despised that look.
Yeah.
It's silly, but like...
No, but that's the thing. And like what I realized through that process was like, because we were both import guys. And then we collectively felt that it was an awesome time to bring some American muscle into the sport.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Nick Fusekis, by the way, because that was mainly his brainchild.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I remember being at the Falcon office in Rancho and seeing the renders of the GTR concept Mustang with the blue and teal. Yeah. Anyway, but that's what inspired RTR because there was nothing that spoke to me. And like, as I got more ingrained in the Mustang community and I really had a revelation of like why I never liked Mustangs. Right. And it was because I never resonated with the styles I saw. I did not fully relate to like what I perceived as a Mustang owner. And it all goes back to just the perception of the vehicle, right? It was 5-spoke wheels, louvers all over it, over the hood racing stripes. Like that shit is not me.
It was all very common, like cookie cutter styling and
so, for me, like that is what fully inspired RTR because I felt that if I could create a new Mustang like that's focused at a new generation, that it could be relevant and be exciting to our generation again. And that's really just where what started started it really.
Yeah, so let's talk about RTR brand. So I used to do all the vinyl graphics for the cars back at Falcon.
Yeah.
And I remember placing the Ready to Rock sticker on your windshield because you and Chris and the Drift Alliance boys all had kind of your little slogans.
Yeah.
And yours was Ready to Rock. Now, obviously, if you guys put 2 and 2 together, RTR is Ready to Rock, right?
Fact.
So that's cool that you were able to carry that along all this time. And I'm sure that means so much to you that you have got this slogan on your car and you now have a brand of cars that's being sold at the dealer level.
Yeah, well,
that's crazy.
Ready to Rock for me has always just been something I've said since a teenager. Like, friends are like, hey, you want to go do this? Yeah, I'm ready to rock. Let's go. Like more of like a mindset towards life of like being ready for anything. And so when we started building cars and I started thinking about, what's it going to be? I'm like, it's got to be Ready to Rock.
Yeah.
Like and so it's when we came up with the RTR logo, but the DNA of that, like what that means to our cars is that they're ready for anything.
Right.
Right. So
you go to the dealership, you buy it, it's ready to go.
Yeah. So we have, we can get into the production car that we're revealing today, but up to this moment, we get a vehicle from Ford it goes to our, we do all the design, engineering, manufacturing, testing, sign off of all of our parts, all that stuff. But then it goes to our factory partner that then takes the car from Ford, builds it to RTR spec, and then it goes to the dealer. But every single one of those cars, whether you get a, starting at our spec 2, has fully adjustable suspension. So ready to rock.
Yep.
Understeer chassis bounce, neutral chassis bounce,
Wow.
Oversteer balance. Then you get our spec 3, it's got 810 horsepower, supercharger with a warranty. And then you go to our spec 5, which we just dropped a couple weeks ago. That's 870 horsepower with a wide body.
Man.
And
870. I saw that YouTube video you guys did on that car. You and Lindsay were walking around it and kind of showcasing all the bobs and bits that you guys designed. And I agree with you guys. The coolest part of that car is the freaking gas door.
That's cool, isn't it? That's
not
cool,
the coolest part, but
it's
the
cool.
neatest part. Yeah,
it is.
And then I love the I think you guys call it Hyperline, but I love I call it fluoro yellow, but the greenish yellow hits inside the vents. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's very like JGTC, very Japanese style. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but no one else is doing that in Mustang.
Yeah.
No one.
We're very different, and that's why.
But that's why it works.
Yeah.
At least I feel like
and
that's
we're
why
proud of that. Like we're not just out here to make cars for everybody. Like one of our mottos at RTR, we have 2 things we say: cool shit wins and available to all, not for everyone.
Right.
And that's just what we live by.
Yeah.
And like we're fine with that because we know what we like and we're proud of it, and we know there's a vibe. We know that you're a GTR guy.
Yeah.
And when you pulled up here, you said, I might need to get one of those Mustangs. You said that to me. He said that.
No, I didn't actually say that. Yeah, I'm lying. I actually said that.
And that is like, that to me is the ultimate success.
So just, I pulled up, I park on the side of the road behind an RTR. I'm like, oh, this must be the new car. I get out expecting to be like, oh, it's just a Mustang. It's not just a Mustang. It is ready to rock. Literally, it's slammed. For a car that you buy off the showroom floor, it's slammed. Wheel fitment is there. You've got a slight stretch on the tire. All the aero bits on point. Styling, the grill lights. You guys have kind of touched everything and took what Ford made really rad, but you guys made it like 11. And I'm sure it drives. If you're doing all that suspension development with your partner, and you're telling me things that those words never I would have thought would have come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
But you've learned a lot clearly about chassis building, and
I've got an amazing team. I mean, I've attracted just incredible humans.
You do.
To all the way around the board, from motorsport to the vehicle side to media. Like we just all vibe, and it's incredible.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working.
So let me ask you this: how do you go from just being a grassroots drifter that got stuffed in a Mustang to basically running this empire? Because now you've kind of got like a race shop you have a race shop in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. That's essentially a NASCAR shop.
Yeah.
And if you guys have ever been to Charlottesville or that area, the race car shops are insane there. Massive facilities, right? How do you go from that? I mean, obviously it's a vision, but how do you like bite off that much, dude? Like, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine like where your headspace was when you went through all that.
Yeah. Man, it's, we have 80 employees now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
dude.
you remember when literally at my house when it was just me, Abby, and my dad doing demos with the Mustangs.
Yeah, I remember you were bringing me out to Maryland to stock the trailer for all the stuff to go on the road.
Yeah. And you and Courtney and we'd go do the demos. You would mechanic.
Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, man, how did it happen? Look, a lot of people don't know, I was in IT before.
This is a cool story.
Right? So I was in IT. I went to college for a year and a half. I hated math and science. And at the time there were ads on TV, get Microsoft certified, $75,000 a year. And I was good at computers.
Is that really where you found out about that?
Yeah. So I went and got Microsoft certified. I went and took all the classes. I only passed one test. I got MCP. I went to school for MCSE, which is Certified Systems Engineer. And I only officially got Certified Professional.
Okay.
But I'm a resourceful dude. I'm halfway smart. And so I started out developing wireless networks. And then while I was, this was before wireless is what it is today, we used to bring a T1 into a neighborhood and then propagate it throughout the community where everyone would have high-speed internet before it is what it is.
Damn, I didn't
This
know
is
that.
like 99, 98.
That's so cool.
Maybe 2000-ish. And anyway, I was doing a job, and the IT manager at this place in Arlington, Virginia, offered me a job on the spot to be under him.
You could tell you knew what you were doing.
A year and a half later, they fired him and gave me his job. So I was like 22, 23 years old, IT manager of this economic consulting firm in Arlington, Virginia, making good money, getting big bonuses, and literally just supporting my car drug habit.
Yeah.
Like it was just work to pay bills and work on my car. And that was the S13 that you guys met me with.
Right. But before that, you were like, I kind of want to get back into like how you even got into cars. I mean, obviously you were probably into Hot Wheels and stuff as a little one, like most of us were.
Sure.
But like, I remember you telling me a story. You had like a lowrider or something, and that's why I included it in the intro.
Yeah. So my dad was a used car salesman.
Okay.
You know, senior he was a hustler. And so my whole childhood, I was that kid at 5 years old that could tell you a car by headlights and taillights.
Okay. Yep.
I had Hot Wheels pried out of my hands at my mom's wedding so I could take the ring down the aisle. Like, this is all I ever wanted, you know? So when I went to go visit my dad, because my parents were not together, I'd be on my go-kart the whole time.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? Teenage years, you know, I got a dirt bike. He'd take me to street races. He'd take me to all the car shows. Like, I was living in that scene as a kid, then into my teenage years. At 16 years old, my dad, one thing that he never harped about anything, but he always wanted me to get good grades because he never did.
Right.
So I made honor roll, and for my 16th birthday, my dad got me, I was super into lowriders at the time. Lowriders, hydros, Daytons, yes. My father
I remember the picture.
Surprised me with a 64 Cutlass, all black on black. It had 100 spoke Daytons, 10 switches.
Wait, it already had this when you got it?
He bought it from a Jamaican family in DC that had to leave the country.
Okay.
I don't know anything more than that, but he bought it super cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably back then, it was probably easily a $10,000-$12,000 car.
Sure.
And he bought it for like $3,000.
Oh my gosh. Perfect gift.
Yeah. And it's how I learned how to work on cars because it was constantly breaking. Had a 330 rocket motor, carbureted. Hopping and three-wheeling. I was blowing tie rods and ball joints and control arms. And I mean,
you have a trunk full of hydraulic fluid.
Dude, there's a story. I got to tell you this story. This one's hilarious. All right. Now I'll make it as quick as I can. Friend of mine, two of my friends I used to pick up and go to school every day. We were heading to school. Okay. And all of a sudden, smoke just comes flying in the car. Oh, and I'm like, oh, something. So I pull over quickly. Mind you, there's another like a elementary school right here, and kids are out like at the bus, like waiting for the bus or whatever. I don't know. Okay. So I pop the trunk, and there's a fire in the trunk. Like I had an oily rag with hydraulic fluid. Yeah. The switch got stuck on, solenoid started sparking, caught on fire. So I got a fire in the trunk. So there's a Royal Farms, ROFO for my Baltimore friends. My boy Ricky, I'm like, go get water. So he runs over there, and me and Jared are like standing at this thing. We start peeing in the trunk.
Oh my God. Just to put it out?
Just to put the fire out. Here comes Ricky with like a 16-ounce water cup running. No. Water's just splashing out. By the time he got there, there's like half water in it. Anyway, we had to pee in the trunk to put the fire out. And then, we went to school. But man, I have so many memories from that car. I actually tried to buy it back a couple times.
No way.
From the guy who still has it.
To this day?
Yeah, he still has it.
God.
But he completely redid it. And over the years, like I thought about getting it back, and it just never worked out.
That would be a crazy one for the collection.
It would. It really would.
What would you do with it? Would you put it back to the way it was?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, but how I got here again, it's just really been, I've always had an entrepreneur mindset, and I have a question for you. I do want you to answer because I've never asked it, but like,
oh no, this is your podcast.
When I went to, my big leap was, once I fell in love with drifting, I didn't know what the sport was, right? Like I bought my first S13. My dad bought a car for a friend of mine because he used to buy my friend's cars. Yeah. He wrecked it coming out of our college, and I bought it from him.
Oh my gosh, the S13.
My first S13.
Oh, that wasn't the white one.
No,
the white one's the one you still have.
Yeah. But the first one was my green one, and it sat out of my parents' house, crashed. I finally bought like a reman front end, so I drove it forever with a black front and a green back, and that's how I found out about drifting. And so I used to just go play around in the industrial parks and stuff like that.
Wait, so you're saying you found out about drifting because you had a rear-wheel drive Nissan?
Correct.
Basically. So
Yes.
and you were just driving it at the the
Yeah,
trying to.
I knew I didn't want a front wheel drive. No disrespect. I know you're a Honda guy.
That's all good.
That scene didn't attract me, but the Nissan 240SX, I was really attracted to that car.
Yep.
Ended up getting it, and then
I only had a Honda because I couldn't afford a Nissan at the time.
You had some really nice Hondas. But when I started hooking that car up, then I came across videos of Silvias. I didn't know what a Silvia was.
Like options videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was the video I remember vividly was like a Team Orange festival where they're out of the car and hanging out of the car and doing tandem at Ebisu.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, where they did like the big X where they're jumping motocross bikes.
Yeah,
and
it was
shit?
just a big and I saw it and I'm like, oh, there's
dudes
like
are sitting on the door doing donuts.
Yes. I'm like, there's a sport that you can like, because I was into skating and motocross and BMX.
Yeah,
and like, there's a sport you can show you style behind the wheel of a car. It's like skateboarding with cars.
Yeah.
So then I used to just go to industrial parks with Eric, Eric Davis, my boy.
Yep.
And we used to just go play around. And then I ordered a front clip. And then I, just started building that car, spending all my money I was making for my tea.
That's
I'm
right.
building the white car.
You had a
which
Sylvia
is,
face on it, yeah.
You met me.
Yeah, that's when I met you. When it was white with a green stripe on the side.
So I shipped that car. So a lot of people don't know this. I made my name on the East Coast doing well at some events and Hyperfest and whatever. And then I got invited out to the Nopi World Finals.
Yep.
And I maxed
that was
out,
like a driver's search, I think, too, right?
It wasn't like an official thing. It was just a demo with Team Orange at Nopi World Finals.
Oh, okay. This isn't... Okay, I'm sorry. I had the two events mixed up.
Not the 03 driver search. Yeah. Yep. But this was an event in 03. It was
and where was it at?
It was in Fontana.
It was in Fontana. Okay.
Yep. Nopi World Finals in Fontana. And it was 03. And FD was starting in 04. They had just announced it.
Yep.
So I maxed out my credit card, shipped my car to Kaz because I still had a viscous limited slip in the car.
I remember that. Because of you, I met Ray from Kaz.
I shipped it to Kaz. I picked that car up from Kaz. There's a church parking lot like a mile from Kaz. I tested it in the church parking lot. Drove it to Fontana. Maryland boy, first time in LA.
You drove it there?
Yeah. I shipped it, everything in it, drove it straight to that. But at that event, I don't know if you remember, but I came on, again, going back to how I made the business work. I came not just to come drive, I came to meet people.
Yeah.
And I brought proposals. Yep. And I walked around every tent at Nopi.
Yeah, you were prepared.
Introduced myself. And that's where I met you and Nick.
Yeah. So, and that's a similar story to Chris. Same thing. He came out for one of those events and he knew immediately that's what he wanted to do. Sounds like you figured it out straight away as well.
Yeah. Well, but then a week or so later, you and Nick called me.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, and so at the time, Falcon they were it with drifting. I mean,
they had
Sego Yamamoto.
They had started the drift show-offs in America. Right. They were kind of the reason, like Nick and the team that was there even before my time were the ones that brought those guys over for that first demo at Irwindale in the parking lot. Drifting wasn't even big enough at the time to warrant being on the track. It was literally, you can use the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
We'll set up some
Kaguchi, like these were the guys that I saw, and then I met Falcon in California, Mickey and Nick.
Crazy.
And then you guys called me and basically asked me what color I wanted my car to be. That's the one thing from the phone call I remember. And I'm like, Falcon colors.
Yeah.
And basically the deal that year that we made was I would get 10 tires an event.
Yeah.
And you guys helped me get some other partners. Like you connected me with Tane, Anki.
Basically part suppliers.
And long story short, I showed up in Atlanta round one
You
Formula
even painted
Drift.
your car at that time was a Falcon livery, but it doesn't exist anymore. But it was a paint sponsor called Alsa. They made like a chrome blue and silver paint, and somehow you pulled that off because Falcon did all their own. I helped paint those.
Yeah, we
cars.
did on the East Coast.
But you guys tackled it on the East Coast, and it turned up looking pretty
good,
on point.
Yeah, he did a good job. East Coast Customs is who painted that, and I remember being at his shop. I mean, I was a part of that whole build, and it was interesting. But anyway, so yeah, I drove that car. I left work early on like a Wednesday, drove down to Atlanta for Formula D, my open trailer with my wood ramps.
Yep.
And competed in my first Formula D.
That was the first time we saw the car in person. You had sent us photos, I think. Just, hey, check it out. I got it done. Leaving Wednesday.
and that was the start of it. You know,
And we barely knew you other than like meeting you at that event and then talking to you on the phone.
Right. So I'm curious. I never asked this, but like after you guys met me at that event, why did I get that phone call?
I think both Nick and I saw the passion that you were, like you said, you were prepared. You showed up with proposals. Not many people were smart enough to do that. You were prepared, and you could tell that you wanted it. You wanted to be doing this. And so it was pretty obvious to us. And at the time, a guy that knew how to drive a car like that it wasn't common. Nowadays, you can go to any city, and they've got local
guys
drift events and
course,
stuff. Yeah. And back then, I mean, you came out to the driver's search, and we liked your style, for one. Like, everybody does things different. You play ice hockey. Everyone skates a little different than one another, and you can see the silky guys, and you can see the rough guys. But they get it done. You were like that in a car. You were very, I don't want to say abrupt, but you were very, like...
aggressive.
And I think that resonated with both Nick and I. And the fact that you were prepared, the fact that we could tell that you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
A lot of guys were just trying to get into it because it was cool. It was something to do.
Yeah.
Where it was clear you wanted something more from it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was so funny, man. That event for me was a first of so much because, like, I'm from Maryland. I was not very cultured at that time. You know, not to disrespect Maryland, but like I hadn't traveled much, tri-state area, Florida for vacation. But
same for me from Ohio.
Was my first experience with like a Japanese person. This is what it was, right?
I know.
I was just engulfed in it. And me and Dayo Shihara are like connecting, talking with each other like cavemen. Because he didn't speak English at the time. I definitely didn't speak Japanese.
Right.
But like we were connecting over drifting.
Yep.
And it was just really cool, eye-opening on so many levels for me to do that event. And from basically that point, from like then until forever, I just never looked back. I mean, I quit my job in 2007.
Yeah, I still remember the photo of you standing on a desktop computer, like with a baseball bat, I think, on your shoulder.
Super Street.
Yeah, you smashed the thing. And I remember you used to always tell me that you were Windows certified or something like that.
Yeah, Microsoft certified.
Or Microsoft certified. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. I don't know what that means, but good job.
Sounds good. Yeah, good job. So yeah, it just all evolved, and one of the other things too, I think for me is like I've never really been overly worried about money. Like, not that I have so much, I don't have to worry about it, but like I've watched a lot of people get so stressed about it, and like I just know that like no matter what, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like even if it all disappeared, like you know what I mean? Like this is my passion and I love it and it's my life, but it's also, it also is just, it's a thing. Mm-hmm. Again, I love it and I would be devastated, but like I also have like there's a certain point where I was able to let go during the growth of it.
Yeah.
Because I realized that like me wanting to do everything was holding me back.
Yeah.
So there became a moment where I just had to let go, and that let go was possible just by an epiphany that I had, knowing that everything's going to be okay no matter what. And that has allowed the growth.
Yeah.
To your point, now we have, a NASCAR shop. Like I remember going to Charlotte in 2005, seeing NASCAR shops and being like,
same.
What? With Jacob. Funny, we're here at Race Service at Jacob's place, but like we also have a brand new shop that we just built in Farmington, New Mexico, another 20,000 square foot facility for just our off-road stuff, mine and Lauren's partnership. So yeah, man, it's wild to think about that stuff. And I haven't You know, the one thing I've also noticed about the journey, and you know this too, I mean, we're head down, ass up. I mean, how often do you get up and just reflect on like your journey?
Never.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, I remember whenever I'd come to LA, I'd pick you up. You'd have like 2 cars and a half a car garage spot. You know what I mean? Like in some like weird suburb of California, and like, you know, and to see like, we people that are living the passion, I believe, don't reflect on it enough. And it's like, until these type of opportunities, when you're sitting with a bro and you get asked a question, you get to think about it. You know?
Right.
We're doing that, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. And it is just a dream. And like, we could obviously go on for hours about the journey and the stories and the experiences you and I have had together during those days.
Yeah. And
special times.
Man, I wanted to say this. I don't want it to sound sappy or weird, but some of the best times I've had in my lifetime have been spent with you. And to me, that'll always be special.
100%.
There's actually a couple people in this building today that I could say that to. And, unfortunately, we don't see each other enough, but it's always, that stuff will never change.
No, and when we do, it's a full reconnection. It's just like we were hanging out yesterday. Like there is that connection, and I'm really grateful for it. And
same.
Yeah, it's cool.
So you're obviously a Mustang guy at heart. Obviously Ford, you bleed the blue. But you've expanded the ecosystem of what RTR means. It's not just Mustangs.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm most proud of you for is getting outside your comfort zone, which you've always been able to do that. But to see you build the Mach-E 1400, that was a really big eye opener for me. I'm like, wow, this is really outside Vaughn's wheelhouse, but this is freaking cool. And then you got into King of Hammers and racing trucks and Broncos, and like the fact that you're able to step aside from RTR and only putting yourself in a Mustang every time you create a video is really cool. And it allows you opportunities to do many other things that I think a lot of us, we stay in our lane, and you've kind of like opened the lane up to anything. What's the idea behind that? Is it because Ford asked you to do it? Is it because you wanted to do it? Is it because drifting got boring? Like what happened?
I mean, I think it's really important to talk about the Ford relationship a little bit, because in 2005, there was no Ford relationship.
No,
we decided to do this on our own.
Right.
I was pounding on Ford's door, and then we got it cracked open in 2007, started getting some parts flow. And then 2010 is when really a relationship started, you know, with Ford, where they saw drifting, you know, what we were doing and all of it as important to their future. But, you know, I got with Ford again, 2006, 2007 at a certain level. It was $1 a share.
Yeah.
You know, and I have just grown a relentless passion to just win with Ford on and off the track.
Okay.
Right. And so I've learned the people there. I mean, obviously there's been changes, but like the passion and the type of brand they are and the family they are, like, I love them. Like I feel very connected to them, and they've been a huge part of my story and my journey. And I can also look anyone at Ford in the eye and tell them, and they'll tell me what we've been to their, you know, to their success in the spaces, you know?
That's gotta be cool to hear.
Yeah. I mean, we have a car coming out with them out of their plant, you know what I mean? And so like,
unbelievable.
It is really a beautiful thing. And, you know, for me, you know, I've been drifting for 20 years. I have nothing to prove there. I still love the sport.
Yeah.
I am still very passionate about it, but the last couple of years of my like competing full time, it took more for me to get there to where I need to be at the top. It wasn't just like, you know, there's always effort, but it was just like, I don't have the interest in it to put the level of effort that it takes for me to be a champion 8 rounds a year.
Right.
So that's why I've been doing a couple rounds a year, picking and choosing the events I want, because I can show up at one event and give my all and feel really good about it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. I always kind of wondered, I never asked you the question, like, why did you step back? I always kind of thought in my head that I knew that it was because you wanted to focus on other things as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was business. I didn't know if that was, hey, I want to compete in King of the Hammers. I want to, you know.
It was definitely, I mean, I definitely got bit by the off-road bug. I mean, that was 2016. I did my first King of the Hammers. Nitto invited me out. and I fell in love with the sport. And the next year I built the truck. I met Lauren Healy, who is now, my partner, was a mentor of mine. Now he's my partner in the RTR off-road motorsports
cool.
program. We're doing Baja. We got a trophy truck being built right now. We've got, we're racing Baja 1000 with Ford and the stock class Broncos.
Oh man, you guys are all in.
Oh yeah. I mean, wait till you see the facility that we just built. It's crazy.
Why New Mexico?
That's where Lauren's at.
Okay.
Plus, it's affordable.
I don't know if that was like a hotbed.
It's close to everything. Plus, we bought a beautiful piece of land. It backs up to thousands of acres of BLM, so we can test, we can practice, we can do experiences for RTR customers, just fans. Like, there's just opportunity with that. And so, and then to go, you mentioned, so off-road I love. I raced motocross.
Yeah.
And so I feel right at home. And
I remember coming to your house in Maryland. You had Jeeps parked in the side yard. You'd go rip those in the woods, and Billy and Cletus would go out. And
oh yeah.
We're not gonna get into
that. Can we show that video?
No.
So we, with the off-road stuff, it was really natural because drifting, I believe to this day, drifting and motocross are the absolute things that anyone should do that wants to get into motorsport, because motocross teaches you throttle control, weight balance. If you don't have the right weight on your dirt bike, you're on the ground. Right. You go over a jump, you're too far back, too far forward, or whatever, entering a turn. So, and then drifting is just driving the car above the limit, which a lot of drivers that start in karting, you don't go over the limit in karts.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're spinning or you're flying off the track.
It's a totally different discipline.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I got into off-road and realized that my skill from drifting and motocross made me really good, and I picked it up pretty quickly, especially with some mentorship from Lauren of how to drive in the rocks. And then when I looked at off-road from a opportunity standpoint, what we were doing in drifting, I mean, I got as many mechanics as I do media, and no one in off-road was focused on the marketing and media. So I just brought everything we've been doing in drifting into off-road.
Yeah.
And very quickly, was able to be successful in that space. And I also knew that the Bronco was coming.
Yep.
And so I wanted to position myself to be able to have the opportunity to support both the Ford's horses, if you will.
Yeah.
And so
very forward
I saw RTR getting into Bronco. At the time we had Mustang Ranger and F-150.
Yep.
And so, and I love it. And so that right now is it's not that I have something to prove, but I got something to, I got something to work on and get better. And I want to be, as I was a top guy in drifting, I'm evolving into a top guy in off-road.
That's cool, man.
And, I've already won a couple championships out there, and I've been really close to King of the Hammers and on pace. And so I'm really excited about continuing that journey.
It looks like so much fun when I see the stories you put up and things.
It is.
I've never been into that, but I can understand why you can get bit by that bug.
Yeah, it's so fun. And then, the Mach-E, right? I mean, the RTRX, the Hunicorn, those were our two greatest builds that we are known for.
Man, the RTRX, that was before its time.
Yeah.
I remember you calling me and saying, "Hey, I need you to meet me somewhere." And I was like, "What is this about?" And I went and met you at a paint shop, and you were doing some of the detail work on the RTRX. It was kind of in its final stages.
Yeah.
And you were kind of explaining to me how you designed, I think was it with Andy Blackmore?
Yeah. Me and Andy
designed the Modena 360 style vents behind the doors and the chin spoiler off of a Hako.
Yeah.
So to speak, the little chin spoiler.
Yeah.
I think you just wanted me to tell you it looked sick.
Maybe.
I think it was the only reason I was there.
Maybe.
But
I knew you would appreciate it.
I was flattered that you wanted my opinion on it, and that thing was way before its time. And then came the Hunicorn, which I had a brief stint working for Ken, and during that time is when you guys were working on that car at your RTR factory. And I remember seeing on the calendar Unicorn, and no one ever told me, even though I was on the inside with Ken, nobody told me what that meant. Brian didn't tell me, Ken didn't tell me. It wasn't for me to know.
Secret. Yeah.
And then I found out after the fact that was the secret project, and you were the one building it.
Yeah.
You and your team, which is so cool. I think a lot of people out there don't realize that the Hunicorn was the brainchild of Ken and RTR.
Yeah. Yeah,
And Ford, of course.
The RTRX is really the older brother to the Hunicorn.
Yeah.
And that's what made Ken ask me to build the Hunicorn.
Really?
And really, to tie you into
That's
this,
cool.
I mean, this was the year that I had absorbed ASD.
Yep.
And Ian was now like my technical director. And, so like that collective that used to effectively be the Falcon Motorsports team at some point.
Yeah, it did.
That became
crazy.
RTR back then.
Yeah.
And then, then the Hunicorn happened. And then so, that car to this day is still the most batshit crazy thing I've ever driven. And then
Really?
oh yeah. And then to tie that then is a good segue into the Mach-E 1400.
Okay.
Because the reason why is because the first time I ever drove the Hunicorn was the day I let Ken drive the Mach-E 1400.
I saw that video.
And
That's a great video, by the way.
it is. And Ken was blown away. I was blown away. I mean, I knew what the Hunicorn was because on paper I knew exactly what it was. But driving it was just, I drove Hunicorn V2, which was after Ken added the turbos.
Yep.
So the NA one, was 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
Now the turbos was 14. It was methanol, fire spit. It was crazy.
Wait. Okay. Which car was faster? Mach-E or Hunicorn? Like in a drag race? Because they're both about 1,400 horsepower, right?
Yeah, the Hunicorn would be faster. The
Yeah.
Mach-E would probably be quicker, but the Hunicorn's lighter.
Okay. So finish
Yeah,
line,
Hunicorn's
it's going to
probably
get there first.
1,500 pounds. We didn't do a full drag race, but I would say Hunicorn's quicker.
That
But
thing is a weapon.
why you asked why we get into all these things, and I think for me, I'm living my childhood dream of literally building Hot Wheels. You know what I mean?
Life-size. Hot
Like
Wheels.
I get to create the things that like are in my head or that I'm inspired by and actually drive them, And so when electric came out and I saw the Mustang Mach-E, like everyone else, I was like, what is that badge doing on that car?
Yeah. That was sort of the consensus of the world, right?
Yeah. But I finally got my head wrapped around it to where like I could buy into it. Okay, look, I'm excited for people that can't justify a two-door sports coupe to have a Mustang experience. Forget about the sound for now.
Sure.
Which, by the way, for the record, I drive a Mustang Mach-E GT often back and forth to work.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's my airport runner. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
If you ever get to drive one, they are really good cars.
I'm afraid to admit this, but I actually like the way they look.
Yeah.
I think it looks great.
Right. And I think they do too. And they're really fun and they're quick and like the low center of gravity of the battery. But anyway, I was like, okay, look, if we're having a Mustang that's coming out as electric, we need to show electric in a fun, sexy way. This is not a toaster oven. It's a Mustang.
Right.
So I came up with the concept of what turned into the Mach-E 1400, which basically was a Mach-E Mustang that could do everything.
Yeah.
All-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, drifting, drag racing.
And all the aero looked so sick.
Oh,
you guys
dude,
knocked it out of the park.
So once I came up with the concept, me and Farley were riffing on it, and then I had to shop it around at Ford and finally got traction when I met with Ford Performance, and they had a vision of something similar.
Okay.
So we partnered with Ford Performance. We did the build at our facility, our old facility.
So they contracted you to pull it off, basically. Yeah.
And then COVID hit. Mind you, like this car for like someone's 10th electric vehicle is an undertaking. This was our first foray at electric.
You guys crushed it.
And we did. I will humbly say we crushed it.
I remember seeing that because I was working on our 350Z conversion that we did with a Tesla drivetrain. And I remember seeing the fit and finish and all the details that you and your team and Ray did to make that thing stand out. And for your first one, I learned so much doing that Z. I don't know how you guys got to where you got without doing one previously, because everything was laid in perfectly in the chassis and on display, and like it was just done so well.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have accomplished that on my first go around.
Yeah. Again, we have an amazing team. We work with the right people. Obviously we had Ford involved.
Yeah, that's helpful. I'm
So,
sure.
we had the right group and we did it. And that car still to this day runs flawless.
Does it?
And it's really special. And it's at Ford's technical center on display. But yeah, I mean, we've, this just this passion, and it's all started from drifting.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when
Which
you
is
break it
crazy.
down, like you, I'm just an enthusiast
Yeah.
that loves to have fun behind the wheel. And most importantly, I like to put smiles on faces. So everything that I create, everything that I dream up is not only putting a smile on my face, but it's also people, the mindset is holistic. It's like, what's this going to do when somebody looks at it? What's this going to do when somebody gets behind the wheel? What's it going to do when they start it? What's it going to do when they pick their girl up or pick their dude up, whatever, right? For me, it's like the holistic enthusiast owner experience.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to perfect that, whether it's the Hunicorn or one of our spec Mustangs or spec Broncos. And that to me, I think is unique in the realm of creating these days.
Yeah, it is. And I think as you mentioned previously, in the space that you're into, was an untouched space for so long. And you kind of just came in and kicked the door down and just kind of took it in a totally different direction. I think that resonated with a lot of people that were ready for that change.
I like that.
I feel that way. I mean, that's from
thank
the
you.
outside looking in. I know you well enough to know a lot of inside stuff, but at the same time, from the outside looking, because I am far enough away, that's
Yeah.
how it appears.
That's a cool perspective. No, I can actually see that because it's what we've done has been very different. Like even with our Broncos, like we don't have the traditional off-road approach. It's all, still very much us,
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Drifting is great. I love drifting, but you've had an opportunity to sort of build your program, and you've also had now the opportunity to bring up a few guys through your system, your team or your program. We've talked about what an effort it is. It's basically a NASCAR program for drifting, in my opinion. And you learned a lot of that through Ian from ASD and Dean and those guys that used to work with you. But you've brought Chelsea DeNofa, James Dean, Adam LZ, Ben Hobson now up through your ranks, basically put them in cars that you would have spec'd for yourself and then now tailored them to these guys.
Yeah.
How rewarding has that been, and has it been challenging?
Oh, it's been challenging. But it's been a lot of fun, working with taking my helmet off and now working with drivers. We're an interesting group. We all have different needs. We all have our things, especially when the helmet goes on and when the emotions are high.
Yeah.
I spent 7 years as Chelsea's teammate. 6 or 7 years as Chelsea's teammate, and frankly, Chelsea was the last person I ever thought that I would put on my team until one night he walked in my trailer and said, "I'm driving for you next year." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
You have no choice.
Yeah, I was like, "Really?" And then we talked about it. He made compelling things and was able to bring, his part to the table. And that's where that relationship started. And I really loved working with Chelsea. And, those were really the last years that I was fully engaged in the program.
Yeah.
And, we brought Adam on as a third car. And then, which was a lot of fun. Both, Chelsea was like the driver who had the skill, but his car would always fall apart and he never had the equipment.
Yeah.
So once we got him in the equipment and then adapted the car a little bit to his style, he started to become untouchable when he showed up and played the game instead of just doing what Chelsea wanted to do.
Yep.
And that was Chelsea's biggest challenge, was like he had a way he wanted to drive and he wanted to win. Whereas, if you're showing up in Major League Baseball, you play by the Major League Baseball rules. You don't get 4 strikes, you get 3.
Yeah.
And so once Chelsea decided he wanted to win a championship and buckle down, he did.
The light bulb went on and he figured it out.
Yeah. And then with Adam, Adam was very green, never had any, he was self-built YouTuber, self-built driver, but had a lot of skill and extremely intelligent. And, we were able to get him his first win. And, he even to this day will tell you that, the success that he's earning on his own team now is a lot of, he learned a lot from us over the couple of years, which I'm happy that he's doing so well. I really love that dude. And then, when I decided to fully step out, I obviously needed our team to be successful.
Yeah, sure.
So, obviously, I've known James for a really long time. you need a guy to win a championship, you call James Dean.
That's your guy.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and James
Hired
always,
Hitman.
James always wanted to drive with us. And I mean, I've been talking with him about it since 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And so we were able to make it happen. So then you got Chelsea, then you got Chelsea and James running together, and Chelsea's last year.
Yep.
And then, Chelsea decided he wanted to retire. And so that's when I found Ben.
Yep.
And Ben is, an amazing human, amazing personality. He's so passionate. He's not quite earned the results that we all want at this point, but he's got some incredible learning. Mm-hmm. It's like, the way I see it is like, you either get into the process and you do really well, and then over time you evolve to be good enough to be a champion. What I think is happening with Ben is he is getting so many hard learnings. I mean, he's getting stacked with the new seating thing. He's running top dogs, top 32 every time. Yeah. And he's learning like trial by fire.
But it's good because, he's literally being held feet to the fire.
Right.
You got to figure out how to beat this guy.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, he's learn the hard way about wrong track positioning at certain tracks and where to be and how not to be. Like, he's learning these things. And so my belief is that, come next year, we're going to see a very different Ben.
Seasoned. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's been interesting to step back, and be a cheerleader. And like, my job at this point is I work for them. That's kind of my whole philosophy of my business is like, I work for my employees. I work for my team, because if I expect them to provide these certain things, right? I want to win championships. I want to build badass cars. I want the greatest media. They all need the tools.
Yeah.
So my job, aside from when I'm driving and when I'm doing the things that I do as a professional athlete, I'm just bouncing around the business to see where I'm needed the most to like help make the biggest impact to support the needs of the people.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been
makes
for the
sense.
driver. So like with Ben, trying to coach him, trying to get his head. James helps him at each track because I'm not at the rounds.
Yep.
And with James, it's really, dude, I wish I could say I've helped James. I mean, I help him because the business is done
his
for him.
nickname is the
he gets
machine
to
for
show,
a reason.
Yeah, he gets to show up and drive, and he does just that. And he's
dialed.
Unbelievable. I mean, remember, we at Falcon.
Remember when
right?
he was 16 years old?
Yeah, you remember him coming over, and we had, I introduced Darren to you guys. Darren brought James into the circle.
Yep.
Right. And so it's crazy how small this all started and where it's at.
It's,
and you're way more part of that than you think. You were a part of all of this.
I was a part of it. Yeah. I wish I would have remained a bigger part of it. When I departed Falcon, it was kind of, I stuck around for a little bit, and you are obviously gracious enough to keep me on for a while. And then I went off to work for Mike. And I tried to stay involved, and because I love it, I actually really love. I'm not a driver. I enjoy you breaking shit because I want to fix it. And that's weird because I like to build cars now, and I don't drive them as much as I should because I enjoy the build process. That's just the way I'm wired, unfortunately. And one of the things I want to touch on was you said drivers are very interesting or unique in their own way. And being from sports, I understand every sport kind of everybody has their quirks and stuff. But one thing I remember specifically about you is you struggled a lot with focus. And you were one of the first drivers that I was ever aware of that actually put time into actually seeking help with that. And I never really understood the ins and outs of that. You had a little thing on your dashboard that you would touch, and you would go through this routine before you got in the car. And I always thought, well, whatever it takes, whatever he needs to do to clear his head, right? And as I've been around motorsport more now, in the last 20 years, I've noticed a lot more drivers have that same problem where you get behind the wheel and you get this nervousness, and it's normal. It's adrenaline. It's all these things building up in you. And you have to find a way to harness that. And in drifting, I think it's even harder probably because you're so aggressive all the time.
Well, you have to be the best you've ever been now.
Right now.
There's no mistakes allowed.
Yeah, and you got one shot to impress the judges and two potentially. But it's I don't know. I always thought that was really forward thought of you at that time because I didn't see anybody else doing that. And so I just assumed it was a Vaughn problem. But it wasn't a Vaughn problem. It was a Vaughn solution.
Yeah.
And now that I've actually had a chance to build a few cars, fast cars, and drive them at Verona, their drag strip and stuff like that, I've lost a couple races because of the same problem. Like I missed shift third because my head wasn't in the right spot when I needed to make that shift. And so now I look back and I'm like, man, that was really smart. And you were doing what you needed to be successful before I understood what that was.
Yeah, well, I realized, I would go out to events in FD, I'd crush it during practice, and then qualifying would happen or tandem battle would happen, and I would just shit the bed.
Yeah, the anxiety.
And I'm like, okay, this is a me problem. And so I started to do research and learned a bit about sports psychology and started to like study how the brain worked and become, a master at a certain level of like getting in the zone.
Yeah.
And, a couple quick things I could just share with you is like, when you have this intensity and you're like getting ready to leave the line or you're lined up against someone, you're ready to go, you're going to feel those butterflies. Mm-hmm. And but you need to take that anxiety and instead of like looking at it as negative anxiety, look at it as positive excitement.
Yeah.
Right. Because we have the ability to control those emotions and like what they are. And so like for me now, when I get that feeling, it's like, oh yeah, I'm here. My body's getting
this
ready.
This is how I'm supposed to feel.
I'm supposed to be like this instead of being like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't like this. Yeah. And then always the negative self-talk comes in.
Yep.
What if I miss shift third?
Yep.
I'm only going to lose if I miss shift third. You immediately, when that comes in, you shift it to a positive thought. I'm going to do this. I'm going to shift third. I'm gonna nail this.
Yeah.
So it's really as much a mental game as it is the physical thing. And to be a champion or to be the best at anything, it all has to come together.
Yeah.
It's a unit.
It's crazy because like in hockey, I get those same butterflies things, but the first thing you do is you go on the ice and you just run somebody over and then it goes away.
That's
you
your
don't
thing.
have that opportunity in motorsport really.
Yeah.
So it's neat to hear that and like, look back on it now and be like, man, Vaughn was really searching for something back then and you sort of figured out. Now I don't think you deal with that at all anymore.
Well, that was 2008. I won my first championship in 2010.
You mentioned that you had Adam LZ under your wing, and I thought that was really cool of you to bring him on as a sort of a social media influencer, and that was pretty forward thought for you to do that. And I know he learned a lot from you guys, obviously, like how successful he is now in his BMW. From your program, he learned a lot. What did you guys learn from him being an influencer? Was that done intentionally so that you could learn some of those things?
Well, I think the big thing was like, I met Adam through Chelsea and I liked him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat, but he's good people and he's just super passionate and loves cars. Like, and that's all I am,
That's all we all are.
But like, from an opportunity, I felt that like what he was doing on the YouTube side, he'd never done anything like we do on the motorsport side.
Right.
And I felt that like with the audience he had and what we do, that we would really be able to blow something up that would be great for us together.
Yeah.
And so did I learn much from Adam? I definitely learned a bit more about YouTube.
Yeah.
That would be probably like the extent of it. When it comes to business stuff, I actually, he's hit me up quite a few times and kind of got some perspective of how to approach business. He's a really sharp, growing, evolving businessman.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, no, I would say it was more of just like, we had something that I believed he could use. He had something that had value that added to, because we never were really deep into YouTube stuff.
Right.
So I felt that it was a good thing and it was great. It just that through the process, Adam is used to being successful on his own.
Yep.
And when you get in a program like ours, there's a lot of things involved and a lot of things that need to be done to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
And I think that in the end, Adam was, investing in more businesses and he wanted to be able to promote his businesses and we had businesses he had to promote for us. And so it wasn't that it was like anything negative about it. He took a break from FD, really didn't want to put the time towards it. And then he decided he wanted to come back. And so,
yeah, it was just time.
Yeah. But it's fun and we're all still, super tight and connect. Of course. And
yeah, I wasn't insinuating any of that. It was more so like, I thought it was brilliant that you brought him in because he had something you guys could use. You guys had something he could use. Yeah. And it was sort of
it was cool.
A marriage made in heaven.
Yep.
Temporarily. Which
yeah.
Is
it was great. 3 years.
Yeah.
And we had great times and,
was it really 3 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time with Adam. You know, we did 2 full years, and he and I split a season 4 and 4.
That's
events.
right. That's right. I forgot about that.
And now he's crushing it. I told him, you know, I know he's a future champion.
Yeah.
And he's right there.
He's gonna
I think
get
he's
there.
battling for second.
Yeah.
This coming weekend. So
He's gonna get there. I'm really looking forward to checking out Long Beach. I saw the course last weekend, and it's gonna look a lot like
Yeah.
what you guys are used to. The stadium courses, really tight. A lot of probably paint.
Yeah.
Paint match, or not, what do you call it? Paint sharing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of door-to-door action.
They're going to rip us out of here. But
Okay.
before I tell you that,
Okay.
I do want to just share with you, I'm really excited that you're here because we haven't told them you're here we're doing this because we're revealing
Yes.
my first production car with Ford tonight.
Yeah, which we've touched on, but
Yeah. And I'm really excited for you
Speak
to
on
see
it.
this because you've been a part of my Mustang journey from the beginning. And what you're going to see tonight is the most badass turbocharged Ford Mustang ever produced.
really,
For the last 2 years, have been a secret project between my team and Ford, where literally you compared me to Carroll Shelby to start this off. We are officially only the second company in the 62 years of Mustang that Ford has partnered with to develop a Mustang
Wow.
out of the plant. And the first was Shelby,
and it's here.
and it's here.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
that's what we're going to be unveiling tonight. It is the goal was to build the most fun, exhilarating to drive turbocharged Mustang ever produced. And for me, the challenge was for the collective, the challenge was to build the most epic enthusiast experience.
Are we talking 4-cylinder turbo or 6-cylinder
It's
turbo?
a 4-cylinder turbo.
So you basically made the S16.
Sure.
I like where this is headed.
Sure. You're going to be, it's really cool. It's got some amazing parts. I mean, we changed the steering gear to get max steering angle. The car's got freaking anti-lag from the factory, stiffened up the chassis. I got a custom stability calibration. Every car comes with a drift brake. It's got RTR styling.
Insane.
We made a brand new wheel, 9.5s all the way around, and maxed out the
Really?
offset for the stance. You're going to look at this stance and not believe that this is a factory car coming out of the
No
Ford
spacers
factory.
behind the wheels?
No, bud.
Wow.
All proper.
So this is coming off the assembly line.
Yeah. We got our own custom dash graphics. I mean, it is a factory Ford Mustang RTR.
Oh my God, dude. Congratulations.
And
That's epic. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And it's going to be affordable and attainable, and I'm just freaking pumped. This one's for the people.
I feel pretty dumb I didn't know about this till right now.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I knew I was here for a reason, but I didn't realize that was the reason.
yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations for one. I can't wait to see this thing.
I can't wait for you to see
I can't wait to drive it.
Let's make it
I
happen.
think I'll miss third.
No, you definitely won't.
Well, I want to say again, thanks to Race Service for hosting us and hosting your reveal as well. And Vaughn, thanks for taking the time. I know you're super busy today, and this was probably not ideal, but we had to get it in.
Anything for you, my brother.
Thank you, buddy. Anything else you want to plug?
No, check me out on Instagram, Facebook at Vaughn Gittin Jr., and then give RTR Vehicles some love. Thank you all for everything. Thanks, Mickey.
Can we get a woo?
Amazing. Whoa!
There it is. See you guys.